yourself, Missy. Missy?
Ma'am, I
Yeah.
just got to know in the afternoon that classes are going to be held
So
today.
you attended the third course. Mr. Sriram was there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the course was there. What about seventh course, Faziullah? Anyone attended the course? You can post in your WhatsApp group as well. The class has started, and I'm going to take the class for you today on this, just giving a bird's eye view so that you can understand Indian English literature, 9th paper. Missy, are you having an access towards the WhatsApp group? You have
Yes.
the access for your WhatsApp group, Missy?
Yes,
Divya,
ma'am.
are you there? Post in your WhatsApp. The classes is going to start and even the last class is going to be there. Okay?
Sure, ma'am.
Divya, are you there? Mute yourself, unmute yourself, respond. Nazia Firdaus. Nazia, are you there? I'm not getting even the message here. I can't see your message as well. Is it my voice clear? Can anyone respond in your chat box?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah. Jyoti, are you there? Sajida? Jyoti, Sajida, Sridhar. Good afternoon, Divya. Yeah, Sajida, Sridhar. Yes, Sridhar said it is yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Tomorrow also you are going to have all the classes, and Tirupati, Fuzzy for the 7th paper, 8th paper, Sriram, and 9th paper I myself will be taking, and the last class you are going to have Mr. Suji. Okay, so take your books with you, and the last 2 classes are going to be conducted online. This will be your, today the class will be there, even the last class is going to be there for you. Okay. So, do you have the books with you, my dear students? Do you have the book with you? If not, kindly take your books. If you are somewhere outside and you don't have the access towards the book, don't worry. I'm going to give a glimpse of what exactly the course. Already, I know like you are able to read and you are able to complete your assignments. Deepti, have you completed your assignments? Deepti, Priya.
Ma'am, it's
Yes,
still
ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Deepti.
Yeah.
So complete the assignments before 30th of this month and kindly submit the assignments
Okay,
in
ma'am.
respective coordinating centers. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Nazia Firdaus. Are you there, Nazia? Nazia, are you there? Respond in the chat box. Nazia, if you are unable to open your, I can see Sridhar, Sajida. Yes. Okay, you all can listen to me. I can see that. Jyoti, are you there, Jyoti? Jyoti?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Jyoti, so have you completed your assignments? Were you able to complete your assignments?
No, ma'am.
You don't have time, Jyoti. Hardly you have 15 days left, not even 15 days. Right, today is 16th and 30th is the last date. Kindly submit all of you your assignments, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Shahina, are you there? Unmute yourself and respond. Shahina. Zai, how are you? How are you, Zai?
Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
there?
Fine, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Fine, ma'am. Thank you,
Able
ma'am.
to complete your assignment, Zai?
Yes, ma'am. Completed, ma'am.
Okay, good. So, where is your study center?
Actually, when it was in Jubilee Hills, then I submitted, ma'am. But it has now shifted to Secunderabad.
No problem. But still, the assignments will be, all your assignments will be transferred to the respective study centers. Don't worry about it. But while taking the assignments, please take a signature from them or an assurance, written assurance that you submitted. Okay. Okay. So this is your 9th course class and relating to Indian literature, Indian English literature. We are going to see third block, the Indian novel in 1950s and 80s. The Indian women fiction, unit 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14. today we are going to have a bird's eye view on these units, especially unit 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14. Okay. So if you have the book with you, kindly take block 3. Can someone tell me what is the date? Hello? Can someone help me out for the page number? If you have the book, then you can tell me what is the page number of block 3. Page number 71. Okay. It starts with unit 10 is page number 73. Indian novel. The objective of this is the unit introduces the main theme and technique of post-independent Indian novel, and R.K. Narayan, Mulkraj, and last time also I was trying to tell you why R.K. Narayan, Mulkraj and Raja Rao Kantapura, right? So it's his famous quote Kantapura, and why these three people are important in Indian English writing, because they are called as in a trio, right? Three people, and they're very well known in the 21st century, 20th century in Indian English literature. A new breed of writers emerged from independence. Bhavani Bhattacharya, Manohar Malgonkar, and Kamala Markandeya. In 1970s, Anita Desai inaugurated the genre of women fiction in English. Arun Joshi began writing psychological fiction, and Nayanthara Saigal being publishing her political novel. So these are the pioneers, or we can say like the first three people prominently published and prominently known in Indian writing in English are this trio, R.K. Narayan and Mulkraj Anand and Raja Rao, right? So after that, who are the prominent people in Indian English writing? If you see Bhavani Bhattacharya, Manohar Malgonkar and Kamala Markandeya, these are also very famous writers in 20th century, pre and post-independent period in Indian English literature. 1970s, Anita Desai inaugurated the genre of women's fiction in English. Arun Joshi began writing psychological fiction, and Nayanthara Saigal began publishing her political novels. So, the Indian women writers took a part in even in literature, especially with the engagement of novels, engagement with the novels, as well as post-independent period, right? With independence came the problems of new nation. The first generation of post-independent novelists in English map in their fiction specific themes of their new nation, political independence and the new India. For example, we can take an example of pandemic as well. Before the pandemic and after the pandemic, right? Before the pandemic, how the education system was there, and after the pandemic, how the education system took a dynamic change, right? So we can say before the pandemic and after the pandemic. Before the corona, the virus and the three waves of pandemic and corona, first wave, second wave, and third wave. And now we can see what is happening especially with the education system. Do you find any difference before the pandemic and after the pandemic? Just give me one or two examples from your side. Are you there with me? Deepti, Divya, Nazia, Nisi, Jyoti, Sajida, Sahina, Sridhar, and Zai. Anyone of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Can you tell two examples of this Nisi? Nisi, you said yes, right? Give me two examples, one or two examples. Sajida as well. What is the change that you can find? What is the change that you can find after the pandemic and before the pandemic? What is it? What kind of change you can observe? Online and offline classes?
Yes, the use of gadget is too much, ma'am, after that.
Okay.
And for education purpose.
Okay. So use of gadgets, use of technology in the broader term, right? Yes. And even classroom got shifted, right? Can you observe that? Classroom got shifted. Like now the classroom is not, you have to go all the way and you have to sit in a school or in a college. Now the classroom shifted to your own respective homes, right? You can sit in your own residence and you are listening to me right away. You're very far from me, maybe you're 100 kilometers or 20 kilometers or maybe you're 400 kilometers away from me. Our students are in Vizag, or someone is from West Godavari, someone is from Vijayawada, someone is from Tirupati or Kurnool, Anantapur, Khammam, or Siddipet, wherever they are, they can listen to me right now. They are going to have a conversation with me because again, online gave that platform. That means you're going to have a conversation. You are going to listen to the class from the not within the four walls of classroom, but outside the classroom. In the same way, before the independence, what kind of literature was expected, and what kind of literature was written? That is more a nationalistic point of view, from a freedom struggle point of view, from a patriarchal point of view. Literature was written. It was more an inspiring, and it is reflecting the problems of the society and the citizen as well. But after the independence, after 1947, there was a new India. So that is what reflected in the writings of the new Indian English writers. So what kind of themes they were able to focus? For example, social problems, including the class and poverty and caste system. So these are very important aspects of society where we can come. One second. Students, there is some technical problem is here. Just 2 minutes. Can you just lend me 2 minutes? I'll get back to you. Okay. Nazia, able to listen to me? Yeah, Nisi, are you there? Nisi, is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Just 2 minutes. Some technical reason. keep the track of the record and attendance as well. Okay. Okay, ma'am. All the best. Yeah. Students, I'm so sorry. In between, any technical reason, and there was some other urgency. So let me see this in the form of technique and for much of the writing. Xerox తీయాలన్నమాట. అని పంపిస్తారు. ఆయన పంపించేసి మీరు పంపించారు. ఇక్కడ మా స్టూడెంట్స్ వెళ్ళిపోతారు. మనకి 15 మంది ఉన్నారు. పీజీ క్లాసెస్, ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసెస్. స్టూడెంట్స్ ఎక్కువ ఉండేవారు. మధ్య మన వాళ్ళు కరెంట్ లేదు, మధ్య టెక్నికల్ రీజన్స్ అంత ప్రాబ్లమ్ వస్తుంది. Yes, let us continue that where we have stopped it. So, what kind of fiction themes will be there for the new, especially the new nation? Yes, these are the important themes that we can discuss. The first one is political independence and new India. So, what is new in India after the independence? Social problems including class, poverty, and caste. So, it started to see the Indian society in a different perspective, especially within class, gender, and race, and especially with the caste-based society, what kind of problems they face. And last but not the least, the problem of development and modernization. So what is called as development? What are the parameters, what kind of measures that we see in the form of development? That is also one point and the theme that we can see in this, especially in this unit, okay? The tension between rural and urban modernity. These are some themes that are related to postmodern independent India. And Indian social problems, especially the novel is trying to deal with social problems and what can be the impact of it, right? The first wave of post-independent novelists wrote fiction with a social purpose, situated in the context of Nehruvian socialism and the first wave of India's modernization through dance, the expansion of education, the setting up of heavy industries, etc. Many of these authors explored the impact of development on various segments of population. So what kind of the explosion of population and what are the problems that Indians face at that point of view? So literature is reflected, it's a reflection of society, right? Language and literature is always a reflection of that particular society. It starts with culture, food habits, clothing, everything is reflected, right? So the same way, continuity or new social problem, caste, patriarchy, class, poverty, nationalism, and national identity. These are important aspects and important issues that were discussed in the national discourse and as well as in the Indian English literature, especially focusing on these areas. Okay? So Anand Bhattacharya was appointed to continue. Anand means Mulkraj Anand. Okay. So Bhavani Bhattacharya were appointed to continue the continuance of caste system. And in Bhattacharya's He Who Rides a Tiger, Bhattacharya show how a clever, untouchable Kalo masquerades as a branded priest and fools people. So it's completely revolving around the caste-based society and the protagonist. Who is protagonist? The main character. So how protagonists are focusing on different kinds of engagement with the society, the people around them, and systems, culture, everything is specific in this novel, right? One of his most powerful novels, So Many Hungers, in which he depicts poverty in Bengal. So the plot is based on Bengal and poverty. See, 1919, Bengal famine, right? That's what we think about whenever it comes to famine and hunger. It's it's not because lack of food, but there is a difference between lack of food and proper distribution of food, right? So this is very well reflected in these novels. Set in time of Quit India movement and Bengal famine of 1940s, right? So early 1940s. So it's more based on famine, and famine means Karu, right? In Telugu we can call it like that. So showing how the corruption and indifference of officials are to blame for starvation and deaths of so many. And in so many hungers, Bhattacharya dealing with the theme of exploitation and political, economic and social aspects or grounds. Take the Quit India movement and Bengal famine of early 1940s as its background. So these are some important themes of Indian novel, starting with the society, culture, and contemporary problems like it can be untouchability or problems relating to the caste, class as well. These are prominent themes that we can say in post-independent Indian English literature. Kamla Markandeya deals with rural poverty and necromancy, and people who depend on agriculture and land, she shows, often face poverty and starvation. She writes, "We live by our labors from one harvest to next. There is no certain telling whether we shall be able to feed ourselves and our children. And if bad times are prolonged, we know we must see the weak surrenders their lives, and this fact too within our experience." See, Kamla Markandeya, Nectar in the Sea. This is a very, very famous work of Kamla Markandeya, and it shows very, very reflections of the society prominently from one point of view. Okay, tradition versus modernity. Again, what is traditional? Maybe pre-independent period. What kind of tradition and what kind of traditions are followed, or in the patriarchal society, what are the prominent values society tried to see from one perspective is reflected, and there is always a tension between modernity and the traditional. That means the conventional modes of expression, conventional modes of trying to understand the society. This we can see in this tension between the modernity and tradition. Okay, so a theme that has endlessly fascinated the Indian novelists in English is tradition versus modernity. This theme takes various forms: westernization versus Indian or local tradition, city as a metaphor, but westernization versus rural India. So there is a difference between rural India on those days, like the facilities, road, transport, hospitals, education, everything is a completely different from rural area. Not now, right? Now we can see, at least to some extent, education is reaching the rural areas, but on those days, education is completely it's not visible, and social evils are prominent in rural areas, and opportunities are very less on those days. So the prominent theme on those days about the city as a metaphor of westernization and rural areas, that is, there is always a tension between city and rural areas. Modernized Indian versus traditional Indians, the encounter between East and West, and the hybrid cultures that might engage. The Bhavani Bhattacharya musical from Mohini. Bhattacharya explored marriage. Mohini is married into a conservative rural family. The pressures of living in such a family, especially its gender roles and forms of behavior, began to trouble Mohini. Bhattacharya attempts to balance view on tradition and modernity here. So from one perspective, it is dealing with gender. These are some of the works. Try to see their concepts are different. The plot is different from Rajarao, and the first pre-independent concepts are different. It is more about patriotism. It is concerning more about, they are concentrating more and focusing on patriarchal issues, paternal, there is a complete shift. We can't call it as a complete shift again, but we can see there is a difference between pre-independent themes and post-independent themes. So that is discussed again in tradition versus modernity. Let us go for nationalism and the new nation. So before the independence, can you have, do you have book with you? Then go for page number 77. Okay. So nationalism and the new nation. So what is nationalism? Before independence, for the pre-independent period, so the struggle for freedom is considered as one of the main concept of, main theme for national identity, and so that is an important theme in not pre-independent, but probably post-independence, because we already got the freedom after 1947. The concentration and focus of the writers changed because now we got the independence. So we cannot speak about the freedom struggle. We may, as a point of view, we can revisit that in a nostalgic way, or we can revisit that in the fragments, but not in total, because already we got independence. And after the independence, after the post-independent era, what kind of observation? There are different problems. Problems are different now. Before the independence, it was about freedom struggle, it was about nationality and nationalism. But now in the new India, after the independence, what are the problems that the new India was facing? And the same themes are reflected in Indian English writing. So let us see what are the themes related to that. Okay. Nationalism, the freedom movement, and the birth of new India continue to central to the literary imagination in the 1950s and 60s. Okay. But later writers were also keen to examine the nature of the new nation, because now the problems have changed. The problem shift is there in the, maybe we can call it as a paradigm shift sometimes, because education and poverty is a new problem, not the new problem, but in the new India, it's a problem. And so food, clothing, shelter, for millions of people, and partition is also a problem because of the partition. So now the question of freedom struggle is no more there, but now we are focusing more on other themes of Indian nation. The freedom struggle, the Gandhian versus Miltian modes, communalism and the new India. So before the Gandhism, that means peace and non-violence, is taking the second step, and radical changes are happening in the education, agriculture. You can see the first 5-year plan, Panchashila, all these are happening because that is again in New India. So that is all reflected again in the literature. Okay. Are you with me? I can see that there is a discontinuity in between because of power. Missy, yes. You want to convey something? Okay, fine. So Malgunka's A Blend in the Ganges was suited in the Quit India movement. And so these are some of the works, and let us see in the last paragraph where writers after independence explore the problems of new nation. So the shift happened from pre-independent period to post-independent days. After the independence, what kind of new issues are cropping up, and how they were able to cope up with the problem? That's what focused in the literature. These include themes such as political independence of the new India, and social problems, including class, poverty, and caste as well. So the equations are changing, and the problem of development and modernization, the tension between rural and urban, modernity and tradition and nationalism, these are prominent themes after independence, post-independence. So the questions are important about, so some questions are important in this. What can be the major fiction writers in English after independence? Or you can even have an examples about what are the main concerns of social problem, especially in focusing on novel. Okay, let us go for Indian women's fiction, Unit 11. I'm just walking on my units because the time is less. I want to give a comprehensive idea about or a bird's eye view what you are trying to understand. Okay, I can see 2-3 people have joined here. Deepthi, are you there? Just raise your hand, or you can just say hi. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay. Ramu, welcome, Ramu. It's been morning onwards. Many of the students, resource persons were not well and they were not informed and all that kind of problem. But I can see some regular students here. Divya, Missy, Sajid, and okay. So let me go for the Unit 11. Lakshmi, I can't hear again. It is unavailable. Lakshmi, are you there? I can see your message here. Lakshmi, are you there? Lakshmi Damala. Okay, she's not there. I got a message from her. Okay, we'll go ahead. So this is Unit 11, Indian women's fiction. Kindly complete your assignments as soon as possible and submit to your respective study centers, okay? Because April 30th is the last date. Okay, this unit is unit 11, Indian women's fiction. So here it is about patriarchy, the social order of women, and what kind of treatment was given to the women in different sectors, and how society reflected. All this is discussed in this unit. Okay, unit introduces some of the most significant women writers in English, especially when it comes to Indian subcontinent, and it discusses the politics of gender in political India, as portrayed by Anita Desai and Sashi Deshpande, and more recently, Manju Kapoor. It demonstrates how the Indian women novelist addresses not just issues of the family, but social concerns like class and urban culture. Indian women fiction cannot be dismissed as merely about domesticity and the home, and thereafter is not political. What Desai and Deshpande do is to show how gender politics, especially patriarchy. So what is this word? Very interesting, gender politics. And what patriarchy plays a role, how a patriarchy is going to define the life of a woman, or for that matter, masculinity, right? So generally we think like gender is more about women and women problems, or it's all about women vulnerability. No, it is about masculinity as well as femininity. Remember, gender is not about only the problems of women. It is also about patriarchy. It is about especially the masculinity. How we are going to address the problem of masculinity is also important. I'm not going very deep inside this because of lack of time. Again, you try to read this complete chapter, you'll understand different shades of gender. Okay, gender includes male, female, and the other as well. And the issues relating to male are different, issues relating to female are different. Subject to what you call, there's a lot of differences between male, female, and the other, and how society has got a different perspective for every gender. We can see in the reflections of, or the observations in the novel. Right? The characters are different. They are portrayed with a, keeping the view of society in larger perspective. Okay? So the Indian women fiction cannot be dismissed as merely domesticity and home, and therefore not political. How personal is political? This is also very, very grappling issues that we call like how personal is political. How personal can again be social oriented. Personal is again an extension of social reality. Something like that. Okay? The main themes and concerns in women fiction in Deshpande and Sashi Deshpande, so Anita Desai. Desai means Anita Desai. Deshpande means Sashi Deshpande. Both are women writers, Indian women writers. Okay? Can be listed as follows. So what are the themes that Indian women writers wanted to focus on, right? The space of the home as a political space where power relations are at work, right? So they are more concerned about within the four walls of the society, four walls, especially the home where they live, and what kind of exercising their authority and power, and what kind of authority they have, what kind of powerlessness they feel. All maybe to some extent they were able to reflect through the main character, through the protagonist. So the protagonist here is again women, and their circumstances, their situations, their experiences is reflected in these novels. Okay, how social and cultural contexts such as patriarchy, professions, and class affect women in the family and domestic context. The crisis of sexuality, body, and identity in women, and the psychological impact of marriage and social relations, especially what kind of, yes. Can you wait for half an hour? I'm on my class. Yeah, just next door, next room, we have a fan also. It's a scholars room, you can wait for half an hour. 4:30, I'll complete my class and then. What's your name? So now we can see, I'm sorry for the interruption, let us continue. The space of home as a political space where power relations are at work. The psychological impact of marriage, these are some of the things that we can see. Social relations and family upon women, right? How to choose, what to choose, and what not to choose is again, there is no choice for women even now, right? I can see some of the people are joining still, happy about it. Tomorrow you're going to have all the classes, okay? Are you listening to me? Tomorrow you're going to have all the classes, okay? Morning Tirupati was not there, and I came to know like Fuzzy is also was unable to because of his health conditions. After that, Sriram was there, and I'm going to take the class, and the last class which is going to be there. Okay. And please try to complete all your assignments before 3:38 and submit that, because 30 marks are going to be included in your evaluation. That means that's going to be counted in your examination point of view. Okay. Okay. Next. The myth of marriage is a safe space for women by showing how women are oppressed-driven, men are abused within family. So these are some of the themes that the writers, women writers, were trying to reflect in their work. It can be a short story or it can be a novel. Okay? Identity, especially the ethnic identity, sexual identity, national and socio-political and culture of women. So this is very important when it comes to gender and gender politics, and women-centric oriented themes started to develop in 80s and 70s and late 90s. Right? Marriage, family, and power. This is the first topic that we can see here, how early writers like Kamala, page number 82. Are you with me? Anyone has got a book with you? Dipti, Divya, Missy, Jyoti, Sajida, Shahina, Sridhar. No? No one has got a book with you? At least are you there?
Ma'am, please.
Missy,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
got the book with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it my voice clear, Missy?
It's just breaking somewhat, ma'am.
Okay. Now is it clear now?
Yeah, it's good, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. For the last half an hour, I'll see you later.
Hello? Missy, is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear now?
It's clear, ma'am.
Okay. You're not getting any break in the voice? Okay. If you
Not
find
at all,
any
ma'am.
difficulty, just interrupt me, Nisi. You can intrude.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Let me go for the next point, page number 82. We can see the first line. Early women writers like Kamala Markandeya showed traditional views about marriage coming into conflict with criticism of marriage from women. And then Rukmini's mother, Markandeya, Nectar in a Sea. So these are works of Kamala Markandeya. And so we can clearly see how women's space is defined, right? What is the space that they go around, especially inside the house? And so what use that a girl should be learned? Much good will do that for when she has lusty son and a husband to look after. Look at me. Am I any worse than I cannot spell my name so long as I know it? So these three lines are going to define the life of that particular women who are inside the family, and especially it can be in general and in specific, especially with this character, right? In The Dark Holds No Terror, Shashi Deshpande offers a powerful criticism of institution of marriage. Sarita is more successful than her husband. This story is 50 years back, remember, a very old one, but still it holds good in spirit even today. Okay. Just try to see the in-between lines. Sarita is more successful than her husband, Manohar. His resentment for her professional success results in brutality, and he rapes her every night. Deshpande shows how the male's insecurity in the professional and social realm spills over into the personal. Even a professionally successful woman, Deshpande shows, cannot overturn the power relations between gender within the home or family. In effect, therefore, the educated, successful, socially respected woman has little say in family or home, for that matter. That's the reason speaking here. It's a very intrinsic kind of a observation where the control over the society, control over the body of the women also is explained. It's almost 50 years back, right? So now we can see that amendment in the constitution, amendment in the law as well, who is going to control in the sense power and control. Okay, I don't want to go inside, deep inside. Let us see what Deshpande dismisses in the social realm as well. The myth of marriage as being between equals to show how social contests, the male dominant over the women, continue on the personal front. The second major theme in the novel is how Sarita seeks an escape from the tyranny of a father's household. If the father house is a space where her movements are restricted and her identity reduced to nothing, then should she marry in order to escape and discard herself? Sarita, however, discovers that as a woman, marriage continues patriarchal controls. A marriage does not imply a change in power relations for the women. Sarita discovers at the end that there is no refuge except in her own self. So, what there is a self identity, crisis of self identity, and how they are going to come out through the awareness, that is also important, right? The last one is the dark holds no terror. The terror are inside all of us all the times, and we carry them within us, and like traitors, they spring out when we least expect them to scratch and maul. True horror lies in the damaged self, not necessarily in society. Hence, hope and rescue must also come from the self. So, the self search, self identity, we can see in this, especially in the works of Shashi Deshpande and Anita Desai. Are you with me? Are you with me? Any one of you? Is it clear?
Yes,
My
ma'am.
voice is clear? Okay, Nisi.
All right.
Yeah. Patriarchy and the social order and women. So this is again one more theme that we can see in page number 83, 84. So the last but not the least is post-colonial women writing. And this is on Western models of feminism do not work for Asian women. So we are trying to see from a different perspective how different it is from Western concepts. The cultural difference among women, the difference in lived experience of Asian women as compared with Western women, the refusal to see marriage as the goal of a woman's life, and women's bonding and sisterhood as domain in the inaccessible to men, the expression of feminine and sexuality and desire, and the search for alternative modes of life such as spiritual dimension are opposed to modernized and secular Western models. So there is a difference between Western concepts of women understanding and Asian concepts, that means Indians including that, right? So the concept of understanding the patriarchy is different from Western concepts. Okay, yeah, 1 second. So what kind of concepts that we see in this post-colonial feminism and post-colonial Chauvinist popular work, social ideals? Oh, I'm sorry, I just thought like, yeah, Chauvinist popular novels, especially women do not accept being restricted by their marriage, a character in Socialite Evening. So these are some of the works of women writings in India. Okay, so page number 86. Can you see? Let us sum up. If you have the book with you, I'm just giving the gist of what is there in unit 11 and how it's going to come from a examination point of view as well. Okay. So women fiction in English focus on the main three concerns. The question can be from what are the main themes or women writing in Indian women writing. It can be from Anita Desai or Shashi Deshpande or Kamala Markandeya. So these are three prominent women writers, post-independent writers, and they started to write from the women as a center and home as a center, and the anxieties and the grappling issues of the society from a patriarchal point of view. Okay, marriage, power and gender, patriarchy and post-colonial feminism. So this is more important with one point or the other. Okay, so what are the key consists of post-colonial feminism? We can see in this unit. Okay, these are one of the prominent points from this unit. Okay, I'm going for postmodern Indian novel, page number 89. Are you with me? Are you with me? Am I audible? Am I audible? Okay, Nisi said yes. Okay, I'm going ahead. Okay, if you find any difficulty, Divya, you want to tell something, dear? Divya? Okay, yeah. So the postmodern Indian novel, what is postmodern Indian novel and how the postmodern Indian novel reflected, right? History and postmodern Indian novel, playfulness and postmodern Indian novel, magic realism, generic blurring, postmodern Indian novel. So these are some of the concepts very, very important for from one point to the other. How magic realism, we can see there are Salman Rushdie, right? In this is a very famous work, Midnight Children, and where he uses magic realism as one of the technical theme, right? The unit introduced to the entered novel mid of 1980s and characterized by the postmodern of narration, the work of Rushdie, Salman Rushdie, right? Rushdie, Kosh, and Keshavan and others have acquired global visibility and acclaim. For that matter, we can see even Amitav Ghosh, right? Ecofeminism, we can see there. And so these are all the prominent writers who started to write from a different perspective, different themes as well. The plot has changed now. So what kind of novel that we can see in the postmodern era? Before we look at the postmodern Indian novel in English, it is important to understand the essential features of postmodernism and its literary expressions. For postmodern, everything, truth, aesthetics, politics are the results of representation, whether in literature, film, image, or print. That is, postmodernism calls for a greater attention to the language in its philosopher, literary critics, filmmakers, political respects the world. The truth, beauty, political benefits are all available to us only through language. Remember, language is very important and how they experimented with the language. So there is a difference in experiencing the language and how they started to explore different genres we can see in this postmodernism. Okay, postmodern, see history with a capital H and a history with a small h. History is a kind of storytelling, right? And postmodern guess that argues that history writing like storytelling cannot claim objective truth. So what is this objective truth? What is this especially they wanted to focus on? Because postmodernity has got a different shades. What the grappling issues are different from one genre to the other genre, right? So there we can see the pure forms. What are these pure forms? It often mixes with the dream states with reality, reality with magic. That's what we can see in Salman Rushdie. And he always experiments with language, and we can see the different forms of magic realism in 1947 as well, after the 1947, right? History and the postmodern Indian novel. One of the first novel to experience with the way of telling history was Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children. So it's a very interesting comment. Even now, there is a lot of layers in between that we can see whenever you are reading. Say, try to see the original concept of it. It's only for the examination point of view. You can go through the unit, but from your perspective to understand Midnight Children, you should definitely see that. Okay, trust you are all interested in this, and try to see. It's going to give a new kind of an understanding about the literature, especially with the language. Okay, yeah. Any doubts that you want to clarify with me, dear students? See, the topic here is history and political postmodern Indian novel, and how the post novel is especially with the genre of generic blurring and postmodern novel and magic realism. These are some of the topics, especially focusing on post-independent novel. Okay, and so this is all about unit 12. From the examination point of view, you can see a very important question from Rushdie, how he treated the history and how capital H is different from small h. Okay, so these are page number 95. Can you see that? Nisi, are you there? Divya?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Lakshmi, is there a problem with my sound? Lakshmi, are you there? Lakshmi Damalla? Lakshmi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, is it okay now? Lakshmi, all of you, I want you to post in your WhatsApp group stating like you're going to have the class at 4:30 as well, and tomorrow you're going to have all the classes. Okay, that will be the last before class, and 23rd will be the last class for you. Tomorrow, I myself will be there, and I'm going to monitor. So you can ask the resource person whatever the questions or whatever the doubts you can clarify from the online class. Okay. So okay. I'm just winding up the class because the last 10 minutes I can understand. See, some concepts are diaspora, consciousness, hybridity, And these are for the short notes that you can keep in mind. Acculturation, multiculturalism, cosmopolitanism, these are some points. Remember, what is hybridity, what is acculturism, or what is multidisciplinary approach, how it is different from a regular stream. These kind of questions will be coming for your examination point of view. And diaspora consciousness, very, very important when it comes to rootlessness. Okay, so see that in unit 30. I am winding up the class with the last unit, Rohinton Mysteries, A Fine Balance. This is one of the finest work of Rohinton. And in a nutshell, we can see why they are focusing specifically on non-belonging and disposition and state politics and individual. Okay, so this focuses on the larger perspective of literature. It's not about an individual, but how the individual is a part of society, state, politics, and individual. So that we can see here. And yeah, it's a Rohinton mystery. He's from Mumbai, and he's again a diaspora writer. And his second novel is Such a Long Journey in 1991, page number 105. If you have the book with you, Ajay, you can just refer with that. The state, politics, and individual, that is a major theme in his novel, and drama as well. You can see The City Belongs to You, Keep It Beautiful, Food for the Hungry, Home for the Homeless, and The Nation is on the Move. The state so-called program is actually harmful to most people. See, all the letters here are capital. Page number 108. You can see this passage here. Generally, capital letter means you are emphasizing, it is important. Then only we do the capital kind of thing, right? Capital letters we use. But how they are subjected, how they are, how the theme is reflected in that particular uses of language, you can see that in his work. Okay, Social Realism and Humanism, 109. So with this, I am completing the third block, Indian writing after the independence. Okay, I can see Ajay, Divya, Lakshmi Damalla, Divya, again M. Divya, Nisi, Jyoti, Sajida, Sahina, Sridhar, and Zaib, right? Okay, so almost 12, 13 people are here. And any questions from your side, from the textbook as well as from your coursework, or any other questions you want to ask me? You are feel free to ask me now. Ajay, are you there? Divya? Are you listening to me? Dear students, are you listening to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, Zaib, Divya. Okay. So there is no continuity. So, generally post, this is an open university. So we may not predict sometimes what is happening with us, but keep the tempo of your, if your spirit for your MA English, okay, read well, complete your assignments. Trust you are going to complete within 30th, and you should submit all the assignments. How many started the assignments? Kindly raise your hand if you have started the assignment. Ajay, started the assignment. Started. Divya, you are not started? Okay, Lakshmi, Divya, Nisi.
Started, ma'am.
Yes, very good. Then raise your hand. Okay, you can't do that because of various reasons. Jyoti, Sajida, Sahina, please do complete your assignments and complete as soon as possible. Okay, and don't postpone everything. Don't wait for I can complete in the last period, because 30 marks are going to be added in your examination point of view, which is going to give a good grade as well. Okay then, so for the day I'm taking the leave, and last class you are going to have Sujit. Okay, Sujit is going to come, and tomorrow you are going to have all the classes. I'll see that it will happen. Okay, read well. Happy reading. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ma'am,
Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Nisi, tell me. Nisi, you want to tell
Yes,
something?
ma'am.
Yeah, tell
Yes, ma'am. In Nizamabad branch,
Ah.
they are going to take the assignments after May 15th seems, ma'am.
Okay, but Nisi, see that it is only you complete and keep it with you.
Okay, ma'am. All
Okay.
right.
Okay,
Thank
Ajay,
you.
you have something to say? Zaib, you want to tell something? Zaib?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I want to ask when will this exams will be, ma'am?
Do you
Don't
have
worry,
any idea?
Zaib, it will be somewhere in July, right? It's only April,
Okay.
May, June. You have 2 months left and you should read very well, my dear. Okay.
Okay, Jazak. Okay,
Read
thank
well.
you. Ma'am.
Yes, it will be somewhere in July because don't think like last time it was pandemic, so it was in the month of October somewhere. But this time it will be in the month of second years, right? Second years will have the examination, then the first years. Okay. So somewhere July and September, August it will be there because you should be, if you someone want to go for a research for further studies, yeah, June, July, August, not June, but July. Yeah, definitely in the month of July. Can you see?
Ma'am, when
Yeah.
will
Thanks,
be
ma'am.
the
Thanks.
spell 2 exam of first year?
I think you just have to check with the internet, Nisi.
All right, ma'am.
Check with the internet, okay? And check with your study center as well. They'll get all the information.
All right, ma'am. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone else here? Okay, so you can take a break for 5 minutes and you can join at 4:30. Sujit will be there in the last class. Tomorrow, all of you are going to have all the classes. I myself, I'm going to monitor. Okay, all the classes will be there right from 10:30. Okay, happy reading, Lakshmi, Ajay, Divya, Nisi, Jyoti, Sajida, Sahina. Good that you all have joined. Okay, okay then.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take care. Bye bye. Happy reading. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ajay. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you please come inside?
फोन करें फोन खाई को की उठाई नहीं हाँ करना